Welcome to Kickstarter Conniption. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
And we're happy to be part of the Tantrum House family. Today, we're looking at King's Champion. It's a game for just 2 players by Talon Studios, and it's coming to Kickstarter this March and April.
King's Champion is a worker placement and dice allocation game. You're in charge of a group of knights that are participating in a jousting tournament. Throughout the game, you'll be able to upgrade your knights and increase their abilities. Your goal is to either defeat your opponent, which ends the game immediately, or to have the highest morale at the end of 6 rounds.
Here's a look at the prototype components. Each player has knight cards, a status card, and a house card. Their own advanced ability cards, jousting tokens, influence tokens, and some meeples. In the center of the table, you have building cards and political cards, a list card, and a round card. Throughout the game, players will use dice counters, bravery tokens, dice, ability cards, and enhancement cards.
We're not going to give a full detail of how to play the game, but we'll give an overview and then some of our thoughts about it.
There are 5 phases for each round. The draw phase, where you draw your cards, the worker phase, the planning phase, the jousting phase, and then the ennoblement phase.
During the worker phase, you place your workers onto building cards to help improve your knightly house. You could increase your political influence at the royal office. You could get some more bravery tokens in the field house. The academy lets you place bravery tokens on your knights. The number of workers required for each action depends on the color of the shield. The bronze shield costs only 1 worker. And then each shield down the card increases the cost by 1 worker. So the gold shield costs 5 workers just to do that one action.
The planning phase happens at the same time for both players. You're basically prepping your knights for the upcoming joust. You're placing ability cards, placing your dice based on the bravery tokens each knight has, choosing the order your knights will joust in, and if you choose to place 1 enhancement card. This card is pretty cool because it either gives a knight a squire or a piece of equipment, but you have to choose which one it will be when you place it.
The jousting phase is when each knight fights another knight. For each joust, the players will roll their dice for their knight and try to hit the other knight and lower the other player's morale. Each color of dice has separate stats for hits, misses, and special actions. If you don't get a hit, it's not a total loss. You'll gain a reputation point for each die that's a miss. We'll explain reputation in just a bit.
Now the last phase. There are a few different things that happen in the ennoblement phase. Players first draw more bravery tokens based on the number of knights that scored at least a hit. Then a player may be able to promote a knight to become a Knight Crusader by completing at least 1 promotion track. Then they can spend reputation. This is where you can really advance your house in the different political tracks. I really like the card art. The illustrations are top-notch. You may even recognize some of the knights as people from the board game industry.
I also think that the art really works well for the theme of the game. The one little suggestion I would make would be concerning the shields for each player. They are fairly similar. There is a different design, but the color scheme is pretty close, so maybe pushing the color differences a little bit would help.
Yeah, another thing that I personally like in the game are the ability cards. It adds some good depth to the gameplay, ways to protect your knights and ways to attack the other person's knights. Another thing I enjoy are even the dice rolling mechanic. In some games, when you have a worker placement dice allocation game, the dice, if you miss it, then sometimes you just can't even use that dice. But in this game, whether or not you use it, so if you do make a hit, then you're attacking the other opponent. But if it does miss the opponent, then you can add reputation to your knights, which adds the ability to advance in the political tracks, which is great.
Yeah, I'm not really aware of many other jousting knight games, so I think this might really fill a void in the market. I really did feel like I was upgrading my knights and preparing them to go out and do battle. I have a minor critique here that with the jousting and how you order your knights seemed a little random. There was no benefit for going on the first slot or the second slot or the third slot, and it's all done secretly. So it's not really strategic of, oh, I think Kevin's going to put his really powerful knight here, so I should put my powerful knight. So maybe something could be done to give incentives or special powers or benefits to each slot that might drive that strategy a little bit more of which knight you put in the joust.
Well, thank you for joining us for this review of King's Champion. Check it out on Kickstarter and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.